Let's get educated. That's why we're here, to bring you the stories impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses. It's time for a little education.
Why, hello, welcome one and all. I am Katie Petrick, joined by David Fiorazo. Now, before we get started, we want to take just a quick moment to make an announcement. Announcements. You ever do that?
Do I know about this?
Well, if you don't know, you're about to. Because starting this week, Educated is shifting to a Monday-Wednesday program. So after months of feedback, we've learned that while, you guys and gals out there enjoy the show, it's hard, difficult, challenging for many of you to keep up with 4 episodes per week. And trust me, I do have 2 littles at home.
So
and one big, the husband. So I get it. So there are only, I think 24 the last time I checked hours in a day. And so moving forward, there's a look for the new episodes of Educated being released every Monday and Wednesday. That look includes a 12 p.m. Central Time. So we're going to have, for some of you, it may be a brunch time period or a late lunch. It depends on where you live in this fine world of ours, or it could be right at your lunch period. So get out your slice of cold pizza or your salad or whatever it is you eat for lunch and join us at 12 p.m. Central Time. But I digress. David.
Yes.
You had some Matters of the Worldview today, did you not?
WorldviewMatters.tv. Olivier Melnick, Messianic Jew, originally from France. He was back with us. This time he shared his story on, he has some family members that were killed in the Holocaust. And he shared some stories about things that he went through, that his family went through. Very fascinating. Showed some pictures, old family pictures. That's WorldviewMatters.tv. Olivier Melnick was the guest today. And subscribe, get the weekly email. Tomorrow night, Thursday, the 11th, I will be in Oshkosh at Calvary Sunrise Church, speaking on just responding to what's going on in our culture, with the attacks on the biblical worldview, and whether that be politics or government or media, the schools. So check that out if you can. Share this if you're in the Wisconsin area. That's 6:30. Well, there will be a Q&A, and I'm hoping that will be longer than my actual presentation. So that's tomorrow night in Oshkosh. So thanks, friends.
Excellent. Well, in a shocking act of real medicine, a national group of pediatricians say that there's absolutely zero, none, nada, nil scientific reason to affirm children are born as the wrong gender. Shocked. It shouldn't be shocking, but we have to say we're shocked that real science is prevailing here.
So science is catching up with the Bible and the truths of the Bible about humanity. And it's interesting that now pediatrics, this pediatrics group came to this conclusion, finally, that gender-affirming therapy is not beneficial. Oh my goodness. So there maybe some of them are catching up.
And I am sure the New York Times is going to put this as a breaking news piece, correct? Like I'm in Washington Post. Because I get breaking news stories on all sorts of things related to science from them.
You're just
that is not at all breaking news, but yes,
You're trying to lure me into triggering over the media malpractice in America. The Marxist media, and I'm not going to take the bait this time. Yes, we have to stick with this story. So the American College of Pediatricians issued a policy statement. Oh my goodness, they did, because they say that this is not beneficial. So what did they do? So their statement is on gender identity and biological sex, and the medical group, quote, cannot condone the social affirmation, medical intervention, or surgical mutilation of children and adolescents identifying as transgender or gender nonconforming. So it's very easy for us to understand, and we're kind of going, okay, these guys are in the medical community. What took you so long? Isn't that a question that comes to mind?
Where have you been?
Yeah.
Because we've all been out here going, yeah, duh.
And it's not that we're smarter or more educated. It's that, okay, I think we're just saying, isn't this basic, human biology 101?
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah.
And sometimes you have to, anyway. So they say, quote, rather, intensive psychotherapy for the individual and family to determine and hopefully treat the underlying etiology, I don't even know, I've learned the new word today, of their gender incongruence should be pursued. Gender incongruence. So that's an interesting thought. Yeah.
So what I like is the fact that they said how they can't condone surgical mutilation. They didn't mince the words and toy with everything that the language of the left is trying to do. We're trying to make it all fluid, literally fluid sounding for what they're doing. No, it's mutilation is what they've actually been doing. And I'm happy that the medical group actually stated it as such. Now, they did say, in their report here, a whole host of things so that everyone can understand their viewpoint on it. So they're saying there are no long-term studies demonstrating benefits nor studies evaluating risks associated with the medical and surgical interventions provided to these adolescents.
True.
Fact check, true. There aren't, because guess what? This whole hullabaloo that is you can be whoever you want to be, and you should be able to cut bits off and add bits and do Frankenstein experiments on yourself is only recent.
There's actually one study out of Sweden. There is one study, and it's just not convenient for those who want to push this ideology. And I think here's an interesting point, or an important point I think we should make. There's a difference between those suffering with dysphoria, with confusion, with what do they call it? Incongruence, bodily incongruence. There's a difference between those, because there's tremendous pressure and programming happening around the world and in our culture and through media, Hollywood. Anyway, and there's a difference between that and people who are sincerely going, well, wait, maybe I feel different, maybe I am. And then they go down this road of possibilities. And those who are driving the political agenda to change legislation, that would be called transgender ideology, or those who are pushing transgenderism. So those who are suffering from the idea of, I may be transgender, there is a very real confusion out there. And God help them, because the suicide attempt rate, at least, is off the charts. And here's another point before we get back to the article. Well, what do they say about that? They on the left, the drivers of this, they say, the reason for that, if they do acknowledge the studies on high suicide rate, the reason for that is those who believe in the Christian worldview, the Bible, or who are anti-science, in air quotes, and don't affirm. That's why there's so many people that are trying to take their own life. So they blame it.
Point that finger.
Exactly. So it's fascinating. But let me get back to a quote. Dr. Jane Anderson, vice president of the group that led and authored this study, confirmed to the College Fix. She said none of the so-called gender-affirming interventions, including social affirmation, puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgical procedures, either in isolation or in combination, none of these improve the mental health and well-being of adolescents who identify as transgender. That's very clear language for everybody to understand. There is no good evidence that those interventions prevent suicides in adolescents seeking them. Anderson said they may actually increase the risk of suicide.
So now you have a group of pediatricians who are saying this.
Finally,
and also pointing out the fact that we don't have these long-term studies other than the one inconvenient one from Sweden. So this is why you are never going to hear this story anywhere else, because we don't want this true story to get out there, the truth. They only want to pass around their narrative. And as much as we can continue passing along this narrative, we have to pass along another story, a story that involves lots of money, waste of money, if you ask me. David.
Yes.
How much does it cost to go to college these days? 1 year. One year of college. How much does it cost? Give me a ballpark.
Like ballpark, a couple $100 or...
I think if you...
Couple thousand.
It'd be like a couple hundred probably per hour.
How about a couple $1,000? How about, does it cost as much as a new car?
Think body parts. If we want to talk about cutting off body parts, you might as well cut off your arm and your leg and sell it, because that's how much it's going to cost you.
What?
It's
how much?
About to almost be six figures. For
wait a minute.
1 year of college.
1 year?
Almost. Yes. Guess where this is happening. Guess.
Ivy League.
Yeah, of course. And pick a state. More
California.
Specific. There you go.
That wasn't hard.
Winner,
Come on, give me a tough one.
Winner, chicken dinner. Over to you. According to the Associated Press, of all places. Might as well, hey, New York Times, are you next? The AP says that the cost of attending the University of Southern California is $95,000 per year. Other schools, such as the University of Pennsylvania, have an annual cost of $92,000. Brown University is $92,000. Dartmouth, $91,000. Boston College.
They're not too far from Boston Harbor.
There you go. That's $90,000. And then Wellesley, if you want to be, female or identify as such, you can go to Wellesley at $92,000. So USC, of course, is where it's really expensive, but these are all 90 plus. So some of these colleges, including the are exceeding that $90K sticker cost for the first time. What is such insanity happening? Let's just take a look.
This isn't anything new. The price of a college education has been going up for years. But just today, we learned that 4 colleges in the state of Massachusetts will be charging more than $90,000 for tuition, housing, room and board, other expenses beginning in the fall. They are Boston University, Tufts, Wellesley, and Yale. Just take that in for a moment. Wellesley over $92,000, BU over $90,000. The median Massachusetts household income, $93,000. Obviously, the math is not working out there. Now, for these schools, for their part, about 56% of BU students receive financial aid in some form. Wellesley College says about 60% of their students receive some sort of financial aid. But remember, financial aid, Elizabeth, could look like a lot of different things. They could be grants. There are merit-based scholarships that would give aid, but a lot of these are student loans. And we know already that college students are graduating with thousands and thousands of dollars in debt.
Wow.
They all took economics courses, clearly. Every one of them.
Yep. So, Katie, now Massachusetts generally has a higher median income level than many states, like in the Midwest or other places. But let's talk about that. They're about 92, 93. Colleges almost as, or in some cases, maybe a little more expensive.
For 1 year, mind you, 1 year.
Than the annual income of a family in one. Massachusetts is the example we're using because that's what they said.
Crazy.
So we're talking about, they bring home the money, maybe both parents working, they pay for their house payment, they pay for their insurances, health insurance, car payments, groceries, utilities, and that's, their income is 93. So now, college education, 1 year, I don't know how people can do the math, because it's not hard, can do the math and go, okay, I think that would be a good investment to send my son or daughter. Because why? Because we often talk, what do they get for this money?
What's the ROI?
They get a degree. What do they learn? What do they get?
Nothing. I'm answering all of your questions for you. I know you're saying it rhetorically.
Go ahead.
But I'm answering them as like what we are all saying. Like, and I can do it as someone who's been to college how many years and gotten how many of those pieces of paper. Was it worth the investment? Well, maybe, it depends on, not me personally, but you need to make that decision for what you are actually looking at, your return on investment.
And we're not going to tell everybody what to do if you're young parents out there, but 25 to 50 years ago, education was different. It simply was different. They didn't throw in all the DEI. They didn't sexualize. They didn't shut down free speech on college campuses. There's so many other things that we could talk about that higher education has become, right?
Well, and that's the thing for everyone talking about how much of like technology and this and that and AI is the future and this and that and otherwise. Why then are you spending apparently $90K plus almost $100,000 per year to sit in a classroom with someone pontificating up in front when you can just sit on your laptop in your dorm? Well, not even in your dorm room. Do it in the free library that the taxpayers pay for and learn about whatever subject it is mattered like that you want to learn about.
Probably learn more that way.
You can learn more about that way, and you can actually look at different sources and not just have it coming from the one person at the front of the room that you're supposed to believe is telling all truth, which is, even if the person is trying to tell all truth, is probably still slanting a viewpoint to you. So it makes you wonder, why are we even having colleges at all? Since we're all about technology, right? We always are about the technology. Here's an instance where you could do it. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying. Save your pennies. Many of them.
All right. We've got to move on. Still to come. The oldest and most prestigious college in the country says now that they've gone full woke, students are no longer considering them as a top pick. We're talking about that next.
Today's episode is brought to you by Freedom Project Academy. Take back your kids' education. FPA's fully accredited classical curriculum provides live, on-demand, and homeschool courses built on Judeo-Christian values. Request your information packet and save 10% on tuition by visiting freedomforschool.com. That's freedom, F-O-R, school.com.
Speaking of the waste of money
Yes.
for universities, which university would you probably guess that you're going to waste a lot of money paying for?
Well, I know the answer. Should I guess? Should I pretend and guess anyway?
No, just do it. I believe in you.
Harvard.
Harvard.
And Pastor John Harvard is rolling over in his grave over there in the Northeast in the
I don't
cemetery,
know,
wherever he's buried.
That almost got mobster, a little mobster tone in there.
It's
Yeah,
kinda
Harvard.
like Boston.
Boston.
Harvard.
Yeah, Boston, Harvard. All right, it's
Jersey.
Harvard.
Harvard.
There's some good news, though, coming out of Harvard, and
Ooh.
it's the fact that the number of applications is down. We're cheering for that.
good news for the
woo,
country.
Good news.
Good
Go
news for the
look at us
country.
go, right?
Yeah.
You may be asking yourself, well, why? Why is this happening? Why don't the people want to go to Harvard? Well, maybe it's that whole, debacle that they've been coming out of, away from, a whole year
What
of
scandal?
turmoil, as the New York Times is calling it, a year of turmoil.
What scandal?
No scandal at all. Well, those anti-Semitic students there making their
Oh, my
anti-Semitic comments on the campus was then followed by then-President Claudine Gay defending the actions of those anti-Semitic students. And then on top of that, we find out that, Claudine, you're not actually writing the things that you say you're writing.
Yeah,
you're
she
actually,
copied other people's work.
taking someone else's works and
called
claiming
plagiarism.
claiming it to be your own. Now let's just take a moment and walk down memory lane of how this whole thing unfolded.
6 months into her tenure, Harvard University President Claudine Gay announced she's resigning so that our community can navigate this moment of extraordinary challenge. Gay's resignation comes nearly a month after she and the presidents of UPenn and MIT faced widespread condemnation following this testimony at a House education hearing on anti-Semitism on college campuses.
Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment, yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
It does not depend on the context. The answer is yes, and this is why you should resign.
House Republican Chair Elise Stefanik, a Harvard alum, posted, "Two down," referring to Gay and Penn President Liz McGill, who also resigned days after the hearing.
So now Harvard is reaping what it sowed. According to the New York Times, Harvard made the announcement about the application decrease on March 28th. Harvard received a total of 54,008. Apparently those 8 extras, 54,000 undergraduate applications for their admission cycle. And last year they got just shy of 57,000. That's a almost 5% decrease, which when it comes to that, that's big news. Especially if it were being Harvard. So while Harvard as well as Brown University saw a decrease in their applications, other institutions such as MIT, the University of Pennsylvania, Columbia, Dartmouth, and Amherst saw a rise in applications. So some of the other Ivies and the high caliber universities are going up and Harvard went down. I wonder why.
Interesting. But can I just interject a point here? We know that this is just not an Ivy League issue.
Correct.
We know or a Harvard issue. Anti-Semitism is rampant across the university system in America, and this would take us to a deeper analysis and conversation. But it is on college campuses. Harvard just happened to be a radical one of the radicals who, they were chanting in support of Hamas, really, and against the Jews, against Israel. So, we've got some problems at the university level, and I'm glad to see, at least by this report, that Harvard and some others are starting to pay for it by losing some applicants. So good.
Good, great,
yes. Good
grand.
for the country.
You know what's also good, great, and grand?
What?
Up next, we have some ranking to do, so don't go anywhere. The question is, what or who is going to take the top spot? And I can honestly say I have no idea because I don't even know what we're ranking. So I'll find out when you find out. Stick around.
Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. Introducing Patriot Mobile, the wireless carrier that stands with you. We are committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream.
Get free activation now with promo code EDUCATED. All right, it's that special time. Another time for us to rank and file. And our producer, Michael, the old man that he is, has picked 5 things for us to rank, and I have no idea what they are. And David, you have no idea what they are. So I'm going to now figure it out with you. Apparently, did you know that of the more than 314 million people in the United States of America, 49% start their day with a bowl of cereal? Interesting.
Yes.
So this week, I guess, we are being asked to rank 5 cereals. This will be fun. All right, grab your spoon. Let's go. We are going to start with Lucky Charms. Okay. I'm going to put Lucky Charms 2.
3.
Oh, man, it might be my number 1. I'm hoping like Fruit Loops or something. All right, what's next?
Oh. Now this is one that's not bad, although still a lot of sugar.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch 4.
Okay, we're ranking the sugary cereals.
Apparently.
And one of the guys that's doing it is a guy that'll open up the oatmeal, pour some in my hand, and just eat raw oat.
Are you a horse?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so I'll say 4.
4. Okay. See, now you're going to give it number 1, I bet.
I wouldn't even call these healthy, but we're
whole
getting
grain
better.
Oats. Whole grain oats. Just for like wow
factor. So are we
factor?
ranking for health or for taste or for what? Popularity?
I'm going to go 5. I mean, just cause.
Cheerios. Okay, 5.
Okay, I got my 1 and 3 open. Let's go. Here we go. Next oh no, darn. Should have put Raisin Bran at 5. Fine, 3. Here's the deal. I like Raisin Bran until Raisin Bran doesn't like me. If you eat too much of it. It's a lot of fiber.
Do you eat too much of it?
No, one time I did. It was the last time I ate too much of it.
I need to eat some Raisin Bran. I think I should start buying it.
You
Anyway,
know.
that's too much information. I'll put that at number 2.
Ooh. And finally, I guess my number 1 is...
Oh, no.
Yes! Frosted Flakes!
That was my number 1. Yeah, so I guess this is my number 1, too.
Hey,
that's
Tony
the
the
only one
Tiger.
I had open.
I love it. I'm okay with that list.
Sugar.
I'm going to put Cheerios right at the bottom. Hey, I'm okay
America?
with that. How did you do? How did we do? You tell us and you rank and file for yourself and let us know.
And that's going to wrap up Educated for this week for Katie and myself. Thanks for watching, listening, sharing, and supporting the show. Until next time, stay educated, America.